Today I will explain you about Java database connectivity, that is Jdbc Type 3 driver. Now the basic purpose of Jdbc driver is used to translate the Jdbc calls to the ODBC calls or the database calls, and the database calls back to the Jdbc calls. Now coming to the Type 3, we have Java to Network Protocol, or it has been called as All Java driver. Now the Type 3 driver translates the JDBC calls into a database server independent and middleware server specific calls. So here one more layer we are adding, that is the middleware server, and the most of the work is been done by the middleware server rather than the client, because in Type 1 and Type 2 we have seen that most of the work has been done at the client side, but here now we need to overcome the particular problem. So we are incorporating one more middleware server, so that whatever the request you are making, that should be gone to the middleware server. The middleware server is going to take care how to translate the calls. Now with the help of the middleware server, the translated JDBC calls are further translated into database server specific calls. If you can see the architecture, so we have dashed lines that has been considered as the client side, and here we have a middleware server and we have a database layer here. So we have a Java application where we use our JDBC APIs like java.sql or javax.sql, and we make a application, and then we try to make a call for JDBC call, and that you are giving on the Type 3 driver. Now the Type 3 driver is accepting the JDBC call, and it has been converting the particular call to server specific call now. So here your request need to given to the middleware server. So here we are trying to make a server specific call by using an ODBC API. Now this middleware server is taking the responsibility of accepting the server specific calls, and now it is going to decide to which database it need to connect. Either it could connect to Oracle, or it could be connected to SQL Server, or it could connect to the Sybase. So based on the decision based on the request made by the client, their service provider APIs are going to be considered, and the server specific calls are converted into native DBMS specific calls, and then it is going to execute the query on the particular database. Then finally, once the result has been generated, it again goes back to the middleware server. The middleware server give to the Type 3, and Type 3 driver is going to give to the Java app. So most of the work has been done on the middleware server. Now we'll see the flow of the architecture diagram of Type 3 driver. So a JDBC Type 3 driver listens for JDBC calls from the Java application and translate them into middleware server specific calls. So the Type 3 driver is handling the JDBC calls what are passing from Java program, that is Java application, and that get translated into a middleware understandable format, middleware server understandable format. We call it as middleware server specific calls. After that, the driver communicates with the middleware server over a socket. A socket is a communication point where it holds an IP address and the port number of the server. These types of drivers are also known as net protocol, fully Java enabled, or net protocol drivers, because here the network protocol is playing the main role for communication. The middleware server is often added in an application with some additional functionality. Now, what sort of additional functionality holds by the middleware server are? One is pool management. Pool management implies the connection pool management. So by default, we create some database connections and we keep in a pool in the server. And from that, whenever the client will come, the server is going to hand over one connection, database connection to the client. And whenever it is over, the server responsibility is to create a new database connections. If the existing things are over, the new are created. But in the meantime, if the clients have done their work, then again the same database connections are going to keep back in the pool. So the best advantage what you're getting with the pool management is the optimization of the resources. Then performance improvement and connection availability are also the key performance indicators of the middleware server, where we need to, any point of time, we need to see that the performance or the response need to be much more faster, and the connection also need to be available. Now, what are the advantages if you go for Type 3 JDBC driver? It serves as a Java driver and is auto downloadable. So any point of time the driver upgradation has been done, then that will be getting auto downloadable to the concerned systems wherever the Java driver was installed. So basically, the server is trying to have the server driver or the type the driver has been working with the client system. So there the auto downloadable files will be going off. Then does not require any native library to be installed on the client machine. So specific files or binary files are been not required to be installed on the client system. The ensures database independence because a single driver provides access to different types of databases. So in the architecture diagram you might have seen, like we are going for Oracle SQL Server Sybase, and only the middleware server is taking care about how to communicate with so many databases. Now, it does not provide the database details such as user ID, username and password, and database server location to the client. Now, these details are automatically configured in the middleware server. So here we are not disclosing any information like user ID and password and the database server location to the client because it's completely auto configured in the middleware server. Now provide the facility to switch from one database to another database without changing the client side driver classes because you're not installing the drivers onto the client machines. So obviously we don't require any modifications whenever you are switching from one system to the one database to the other database. Switching of database can be implemented by changing the configurations of the middleware server. So everywhere the middleware server is coming into existence. So what all configurations you want to make, you need to make onto the middleware server. Now coming to the disadvantages, it provides slow communication due to the increased number of network calls because so many translations are going on in between. Then obviously the execution speed is slow. Then these are costlier as compared to some other drivers because the middleware server, the one-time investment at least we need to make in order to just provide a very high-end system for the middleware server and for the configuration. So it takes some, that means it incurs so much money for the one-time investment. So in that perception, we can say that it is costlier as compared to other drivers. Now, what are the examples of Type 3 JDBC driver is? We have an IDS server, IDS driver. So basically the IDS driver works with the security aspect. So it listens for JDBC calls and convert them into IDS server specific network calls. The Type 3 driver communicates over a socket to IDS server, which acts as a middleware server. So here the intrusion detection systems are also being incorporated where we work with security. Then WebLogic RMI driver listens for JDBC calls and sends the request from the client to the middleware server by using a remote method invocation protocol. So here the RMI basically try to invoke a remote method from a different system from different location. So we have an RMA protocol. By using that we can do that, and the middleware server use an appropriate JDBC driver to speak with the database. So that is for the WebLogic RMA driver. So I hope I have given some input on the Type 3 driver of JDBC with advantages and disadvantages and some examples. So if you like this video, please subscribe, to comment and share it with your friends. Thank you.